beginning to ask the question, why Jesus? In my brain, I hear people that I know asking that question from a totally different perspective than you would inside the church. Um, you might be saying, well, of course Jesus, because you know him. But if you don't, it's a whole other unreal kind of question. But how do you even start having that conversation? So we want to, Joy and I, we're just really eager and excited when after Bill and Elaine did the first Equip series on spiritual gifts, we were asked if we would keep the Equip nights going, and then we're just starting to build momentum. It's a new thing at the church, and using technology is a new thing at the church, and creating community this way, it's all quite new. So having to catch up and do sermons and stuff online and try and create community, it's a bit of a learning curve, but we're just gonna try and find a way, even though we can't, like, it would have been ideal, wouldn't it, if we could have started with a meal together and just sat around and talked and had food and shared our stories and met in somebody's home. That would have, there's a comfort level there that there isn't necessarily when you're online. It feels like one person talks and do I have to raise my hand to say something, or how do I jump in? I just want you to, if you have a question or an insight or a comment along the way, just butt in, jump in and share it. And I was thinking, I mean, I've had weeks to think about this. So in some ways, I feel like because I've had more time in the preparation, the hours, I mean, there were some nights where I was up till 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, just following the scriptures and the train of thought and studying and preparing. And I'm hoping that for you and the people who will come along as we go through this, that you'll get to go to the places that I've gotten to go in considering this question, because I keep asking it daily almost. It's not like it's a bothersome thing, but it's very intriguing when I think about Jesus and our culture, when I think about Jesus and the relationships that I have with people who don't know Jesus, when I think about Jesus and the way the church is and the way the church is supposed to be. What was Jesus's vision? And I'm really glad we're doing this group, and I especially want this, my hope is that this time for us together will be not artificial. Like the Zoom, I'm still getting used to Zoom, and it feels maybe like a social construct where we're on cameras, and that can be a little awkward with the audio and the visual and the tech stuff. But really, we're here to support each other. As Hebrews says, to spur one another on, to stir each other up to the love of Jesus. The love of Jesus needs to be active in our lives, and that needs to be working itself out. And the only way it can really do that is when Christianity is not private, but it's a shared journey. And it's really, I was having a conversation with one of Sophie's friends today, Abby. She was over doing some work at our house, and she was talking about how a conversation she had about church, and the person was saying, we kind of have to dare to do church differently, because it's not just about Sundays now. It's not just about a Sunday morning service, because we can't even go to church. So how do we, and the conversation was about, how do we be the church? How do we do this in new ways? And I think what we're doing is an example of that. It's finding creative and fresh ways to try and still make the connections of not neglecting each other, not neglecting the connection, but whether it's using a phone or having to meet in bubbles or however we're going to do it in this year ahead. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I think it's not just a crisis. I think it's an opportunity. That's kind of my prayers. I'm actually meeting, is it next week? There's a cohort of church planting pastors and leaders who are meeting on Zoom to have a conference about reimagining church. I thought, well, that is such a great title, and I asked if I could sit in on it, because I want to hear what pastors are thinking and feeling. Besides the challenge, a part of it, the stress, it's hard to keep it all going. But what is the possibilities in this? That's I really want to go there. I want to do that with other Christians and pastors and leaders and see what the possibilities are ahead. So I think this is just a start. That's what we're doing, right, guys? It's a beginning of possibilities. I think we can still be the church, and maybe we can be the church better.